Oh my gosh, what happened in Suning? This is shocking.
Yesterday, I passed by Huanghe North Road and decided to stop at Suning Plaza. When I entered, only Uniqlo, Muji, and Watson's were still open on the first floor. The air conditioning was off, and the mall had a cold, empty feel. I went up to the second floor, where only the Fangwei bookstore remained. A single skincare store was open, but most shops were closed. The mall felt deserted, and the energy that once filled it was gone. This is Suning Plaza in Rizhao, Shandong. On the first floor, there's still a jewelry store and Mishra ice cream and tea. McDonald's and Xiaomi used to be on the second floor, but they've both left. Now the second floor has a few stores left. Mian Xiaobai noodle shop is gone. There's still a hot pot restaurant open, but the Zhuoya Yi restaurant and Spicy Joint restaurant have closed, though they're still trying to stay open. It's not just Suning Plaza and Suning Supermarket facing difficulties. Suning's online sales have also struggled.
Is Suning.com about to collapse? I'm starting to seriously doubt it. I requested a refund for my deposit nearly 2 months ago, but it still hasn't been processed. I can't reach customer service. The company page shows I applied for a refund on July 14th, but it's already September 13th, and nothing has changed. I've been calling and texting, but all I get are automated responses. No one answers. It feels like I'm talking to a mysterious person. There's no reply. I really don't know what's going on with this company anymore.
As this person feels, a major piece of news broke in China's business world. Suning Commercial Group, which had led the top 100 private enterprises in Jiangsu list for years, now faces the need for court restructuring and state-backed support. On October 28th, reports revealed that Suning's bankruptcy restructuring entered a crucial phase. The substantive merger restructuring draft was submitted for review at the second creditors meeting on September 12th. Led by a management team appointed by Jiangsu Nanjing Intermediate People's Court, the restructuring covers Suning Appliance Group, Suning Holdings Group, and 38 affiliated companies. The draft includes key areas: debt categorization, asset disposal plans, trust takeover structures, and Suning's future operational plans. Simply put, this draft outlines Suning's rebirth blueprint, addressing key issues like how much creditors will recover, who will manage the company, how assets will be sold, and whether the company will continue. Earlier in February, Jiangsu Nanjing Intermediate People's Court accepted restructuring applications from 3 core Suning companies: Suning Appliance Group, Suning Holdings Group, and Suning Real Estate. On April 8th, the court decided to implement substantive merger restructuring for Suning Appliance Group and its 38 affiliates, with creditors required to vote by November 14th. This marked the start of Suning's official judicial restructuring. In June, Suning sold 4 subsidiaries in Hangzhou, Ningbo, Shenyang, and Zhuzhou. They were sold to asset management firms at symbolic prices to ease its debt load. Suning, founded in the 1990s with a specialty air conditioning store on Zhongshan North Road in Nanjing, expanded quickly due to strong market insight and distribution power. At its peak, Suning had over 1,200 stores and a wide online presence, becoming a role model for many private entrepreneurs. Today, fewer than a third of Suning's stores are still open nationwide. From its rapid rise to its downfall, Suning has been dragged into a heavy debt spiral. Many are shocked at how quickly this once thriving empire has collapsed, just 10 years from its peak to its fall. Some analysts say the cause lies in inflexible management and frequent strategic errors. As early as 2010, when e-commerce was growing rapidly, Suning's founder, Zhang Jingdong, remained focused on traditional retail. JD.com and Taobao soared during the Double 11 shopping festival, but Suning missed the golden years of e-commerce. By the time Suning ramped up its online efforts, Taobao sales had reached 936 million yuan, and Suning had effectively lost the e-commerce market. To turn things around, Zhang Jingdong launched an aggressive diversification strategy. He spent 7 billion yuan on a football club, 20 billion yuan on real estate, and expanded into sectors like mother and baby products, supermarkets, cultural tourism, a Chinese video streaming website, and hotels. But most of these ventures lost money. After the pandemic, with low consumer demand and a shrinking real estate market, Suning faced plummeting rent collections and squeezed cash flow. Even worse, Suning made a disastrous investment in Evergrande. In 2017, Suning injected about 20 billion yuan into real estate developer Evergrande, becoming a major strategic partner. The companies planned a real estate plus retail model. Evergrande would provide land and properties, while Suning would manage distribution. But this investment turned out to be a stopgap. As Evergrande's financial troubles deepened, Suning was stuck in a losing investment. After Evergrande's collapse, Suning's equity became worthless, severely harming its cash flow. To survive, Zhang Jingdong had no choice but to take on more debt and scramble for financing. Ultimately, these poor decisions dragged Suning into 188 billion yuan of debt. In 2021, Suning was near collapse. The Jiangsu provincial government and Alibaba intervened with 12 billion yuan to help stabilize the company, but this only provided brief relief. Between 2023 and 2025, Suning's debt spiraled, banks withdrew loans, suppliers demanded payment, and creditors filed lawsuits. Many projects were stopped, and some assets were seized. Layoffs and unpaid wages became common, and Suning Plaza locations across the country faced halted construction and unfinished projects. This is Suning Plaza in Xianling, Nanjing's prime real estate. 6 years after Suning acquired the land and 4 years after construction stopped, the site is now abandoned. I recently visited and saw no signs of activity. The scaffolding and cranes are gone, the security booth is empty, and the walls are peeling. Steel bars are rusting, and discarded materials cover the ground. Weeds and vines climb the fences. From above, it's clear the site has been abandoned for some time. This plaza is in a highly sought-after location, next to Xianling Center's subway station. In 2018, after 34 rounds of bidding, Suning won the land for 1.23 billion yuan, with Zheji and Golden Eagle also bidding, showing the high value of the place. Construction began in 2019, and by July 2021, Suning was actively promoting the project, claiming 50% of brands had signed on, with plans for an indoor ice rink and the largest cinema. But the construction stopped just 2 months later, and since then, nothing has progressed. In April, the Xianling Management Committee said several plans to restart the project had been discussed, but no agreement was reached. The future of Xianling's Suning Plaza remains unclear. What's even more concerning is the complexity of the debt behind these projects. Developers owe the construction companies, who owe the suppliers, and tenants' deposits and renovation fees are nearly impossible to recover. This has created a vicious cycle. Some local governments have tried to revive the projects with investments or state-backed capital, but the results have been minimal, with few projects actually restarting. At the same time, Suning Group's core business, Suning.com, has been forced to accelerate its downsizing. On September 9, 2025, Suning.com announced that Carrefour China Holdings, its wholly owned subsidiary, sold 100% of its shares in 12 Carrefour China subsidiaries to Shanghai Qishu Jiafu Enterprise Services Partnership for just 1 yuan each, totaling 12 yuan. According to asset reports, as of March 21, 2025, the total equity of these 12 companies was negative. Changsha Keiyoshi Supermarket, for example, had a net asset deficit of 161 million yuan, with an evaluation of a deficit of approximately 36 million yuan. It's important to note that this isn't the first time Suning has sold Carrefour subsidiaries for 1 yuan. In June 2025, the company also sold Carrefour stores in Hangzhou, Ningbo, Shenyang, and Zhuzhou for the same price. Suning.com explained that Carrefour China's supermarket business was affected by the macroeconomic downturn, changing consumer habits, and liquidity issues. Since 2023, it has gradually closed its offline stores. With limited funds, Suning couldn't continue supporting them and had to divest its assets. Ironically, acquiring Carrefour marked the turning point in Suning's decline. In September 2019, Suning spent 4.8 billion yuan to acquire 80% of Carrefour China's shares, aiming to create a retail synergy model by integrating online and offline resources. However, this gamble failed and became a major factor in draining Suning's cash flow. After the acquisition, Carrefour China's business quickly deteriorated. By 2020, it had 228 stores nationwide. By the end of 2023, only 4 stores in Shanghai, Beijing, and other locations remained, while the rest were closed or were transferred. The financial data is alarming. From 2017 to 2024, China lost money for 8 years straight. From 2022 to 2024, the losses were 2.8 billion yuan, 1.2 billion yuan, and 546 million yuan, respectively. This drained much of Suning's cash flow and worsened its debt. Currently, Suning.com faces high leverage and cash flow problems. After years of emergency financing and asset restructuring, the company has not overcome its crisis. Its debt burden has only increased. The asset-to-liability ratio climbed from approximately 64% in 2020 to 91% in 2024, and by the first quarter of 2025, it was still 91%, well above the industry average of 71%. While Suning continues to sell its supermarket assets, reports have surfaced of employees not getting paid. In online videos, Carrefour employees protested, holding signs that read, "I want my salary," and "Don't drag me down with you," "Give me back my operating funds," and "I need food." The mood was tense. Many retail owners who partnered with Suning are also left unpaid for goods.
苏宁他欠了我324万的枸杞款。
Suning owes me 3.24 million yuan for goji berries. I won the lawsuit, but they haven't paid. The court tried to enforce the payment, but Suning said they had no assets to act on. I don't understand. Don't they still own their buildings? Aren't their stores open? How is it that when it comes to me, they have no assets? Worse still, when we first partnered, they were the main shareholder. But when it was time to pay, they transferred the debt and dropped their shareholder status, completely distancing themselves. How can businesses in China operate like this? The debtor says they're broke, but they can legally hide their assets, leaving creditors stuck. This 3.24 million yuan didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's money I earned through 16 years of hard work in the goji berry business. The case may be over, but I'm still frustrated. Is there anyone who understands this industry who can tell me if there's any way to get my rights back? Can I recover even a little of this money? After several failed attempts to recover the debt through legal action, the retailer said,
苏宁欠我那324万的枸杞款啊，19年到
The money I was owed for goji berries has been delayed since 2019, for 6 full years. Finally, I received the court's final notice, which clearly stated that Suning has no assets left to claim. Honestly, I'm feeling a mix of emotions. I worked in the goji berry business for 16 years, based on integrity and hard work, never expecting to end up like this. After 6 years of trying to recover the debt with no results, I've lost hope. I want to take this moment to warn all business owners. Be cautious, especially when dealing with big companies that look shiny on the surface. Their complicated shareholding structures and financial messes can hide a lot. Just because they seem wealthy doesn't mean they'll pay up. Often, the true deadbeats are those with the most famous brand. Reports show that Suning still claims to have assets 96.8 billion yuan, but only about 41 billion yuan is actually liquidatable, leaving a funding gap of over 140 billion yuan. This means that even if they enter bankruptcy liquidation, regular creditors, especially small and medium suppliers, can only recover about 3.5% of their original debt. But just as the public thought Suning was beyond saving, a dramatic turn of events unfolded. The Chinese government stepped in again, using state-owned capital to rescue Suning. On the surface, Suning has been integrated into the state-owned system, but founder Zhang Jingdong still holds a central role and continues to lead the company. The new board has 9 seats, 5 of which were dominated by Zhang Jingdong, leaving only 4 for the trust. It may look like there's been a shift of power, but in reality, control remains firmly in his hands. So the question remains, why is Zhang Jingdong, the founder who led Suning into bankruptcy and caused a huge debt hole, still in charge? And why is it that the government is so determined to save a company on the verge of collapse, one that will only further damage social credit and harm the economy? This leads to a deeper issue in Chinese corporate bankruptcies, the set of unique, unspoken rules behind them. The first rule, too big to fail. In China, bankruptcy is a political taboo. For local governments, a company's collapse means mass layoffs, higher unemployment, and falling GDP, leading to social instability. So, even if a company is insolvent, governments will find ways to keep it going, often under the guise of restructuring. Stability is prioritized over market principles. Governments would rather let zombie companies continue than let them fail. The second rule is soothe the lower classes, harvest the middle class. In debt management, small creditors are often paid in full to prevent unrest, while medium-sized businesses, suppliers, and middle-class investors are more easily taken advantage of. Their losses are often ignored because they're fewer in number and harder to organize. This layered loss control strategy keeps social stability but deepens wealth inequality. The third rule is directors don't lose power in bankruptcy. Local governments typically avoid taking over because it means accepting both financial losses and political responsibility. Instead, they let original management stay, preserving the appearance of normal operations. If the reform fails, leadership becomes the scapegoat. If it succeeds, the government claims credit for market self-rescue. The fourth rule is state-owned capital cushions the blow, while trust funds hide the risks. State-owned capital may seem like help, but it's really just postponing the problem. Through trusts and funds, debt is temporarily managed, but ultimately, bad debts are hidden from taxpayers and shifted to government finances. In the Chinese Communist Party's political economic system, market forces have been replaced by political stability. So, Suning's collapse wasn't just a result of poor management, it's the inevitable outcome of a system where politics comes first and market logic follows. This is what's known as Chinese-style bankruptcy. It's not a natural market correction, but a political delay. Whether with Hainan Airlines, Evergrande, Peking University founder, or Suning.com, the bankruptcy restructuring process is nearly the same. Companies turn into zombies, creditors lose their investments, and debt risks are deferred. This politics first, stability above all approach may seem secure, but it's just buying time for eventual collapse, letting risks build up within the system.